Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Namaste. Welcome to Unravel the Thread, a podcast for people who want to apply the Yoga Sutras to yoga practice and to life today. Available online at simple-yoga.org, where you can also find dozens of videos for practice, hundreds of articles, videos for chanting, and guided meditations to enrich your practice. I am Ruben Vázquez, your companion on this journey of exploration. I am grateful for your comments and questions. It really makes my day to know that Unravel the Thread is making a difference in your practice and in your life. This podcast presents excerpts from the book Unravel the Thread, the complete guide for living the Yoga Sutras today. It also offers practices inspired by the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. If you love the podcast and want to support my work as an independent content creator, on the simple-yoga.org website, you can easily donate to keep the podcast going. Today, we will explore fundamental need number 1, expressing your uniqueness. In the previous episode, we talked about 2 fundamental needs. They are different from our basic needs of water, food, shelter, protection from the elements, etc. Let's consider the first of these 2 fundamental needs, the need to express our uniqueness. Nowadays, we often hear people urging us to be authentic and to live our best life. What does it mean to be authentic? One way of interpreting this being authentic is that we are being urged to act in alignment with our beliefs, preferences, and deeper values. However, when we examine our own life, it becomes evident that our beliefs, preferences, and values change as we age. It may also become obvious that our preferences also change in a shorter time span. Sometimes they change according to our mood, company, weather, and context. For instance, when you talk to a person you just met, you probably interact with them in a different way from the way that you talk to your parents. Furthermore, it may be helpful to think about how each one of us plays several different roles in our lives. In some places you are a customer. In other places you may be an employee. In other instances you might be a parent, also somebody's child or sibling. Perhaps in another context you are a student, and in another context yet you are a teacher. Recognizing all of these different facets of our life brings into question this call to being authentic as affiliating strongly with a particular belief. Considering the call to be authentic from a different perspective, perhaps there is an underlying assumption that there exists a self, defined by beliefs, preferences, and values, and that we need to commit to being a faithful expression of that self. This would imply that this self is elusive and that it is sometimes possible for that self to find expression, while at other times that self cannot be accessed. Approaching this topic of the self from the perspective of the Yoga Sutra can be quite helpful. At the very beginning of the first chapter of the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali defines yoga as the modulation of our ways of being, or the stilling of the turnings of the mind, in Sutra 1-2. When these ways of being are regulated, the witness abides in its nature, Sutra 1-3. Otherwise, we tend to end up believing that we are our ways of being, our beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and habits, as it says in Sutra 1-4. I invite you to consider which of these options you are currently following in your life. Are you trying to consistently align with a specific set of beliefs and preferences? If so, where do those beliefs arise from? Have you participated consciously in creating those beliefs? What do you do when you find that one of those beliefs no longer fits your experiences? If you believe that there is a self who is you, what defines that self? Where is that self located? Is it somewhere in your physical body? What happens to that self when you go to sleep? Does it go to sleep too? Is that self perhaps like a pilot that sits at the center of your head, behind your eyes, operating a control panel to direct your actions as you move about in the world? Do you notice some of your tendencies, perhaps like the tendency to catastrophize or to suffer at the thought of something that might happen in the future? Who does the catastrophizing? Who feels the suffering? Does that self change, or does it always stay the same? Contemplating these ideas can truly be illuminating on the journey of knowing who we are and, more importantly, of distinguishing who we think we are from who we are. At this point, it may be useful to revisit wise Patanjali's ideas. In this context, we can understand Sutra 1.4 as saying that one of our options is identifying ourselves with the ever-changing experiences that we have in the way of sensations, thoughts, emotions, memories, and dreams, as it says in Sutras 1.5 to 1.9. Identifying ourselves with our experiences lead us to ride an endless emotional roller coaster, either because we enjoy them or because we dislike them and want to avoid them. The other option presented by Patanjali is to stop misidentifying with all these transitory experiences so that we recognize that our awareness is different from the contents of our awareness. Our awareness enables us to notice all the changing experiences. It also makes it possible for us to notice how some aspect of us reacts physically, mentally, or emotionally to whatever is happening. Could it be possible that we can remain in our awareness, witnessing the cascade of phenomena, feeling all of it, but without thinking that we are what we are experiencing? Is it possible that this is what Patanjali means by the witness or seer abiding in its own nature or embodying presence in Sutra 1.3? It may seem that we have taken a detour, that we started with this idea of the fundamental need we have to express our uniqueness, and that we ended up thinking about authenticity, the notion of self, and abiding in awareness. Then, what does it mean to express your uniqueness? When you inquire into these ideas, it becomes evident that we spend a lot of time and energy creating a personal ideology about who we are, why we are the way we are, in other words, constructing a sense of self. However, as happens with all of our mental constructions, they keep changing, just like all other phenomena. That is why our self is so elusive, because we keep editing it according to our experiences and modeling it according to our ever-evolving memories. If we choose not to keep feeding this personal fiction that we call our self, we're more likely to come into each moment from the perspective of awareness. Then, it may be easier to witness our preferences and biases, which makes it more likely that we can regulate them so that our participation in each unique moment is wholehearted and open-minded. So, instead of trying to believe that I have to find a way to create a sense of uniqueness, I simply acknowledge that I have always been a unique expression of consciousness, participating in life with less prejudice and appreciating the uniqueness of each moment. Doing this is already quite unique and extraordinary. Is it possible that your uniqueness comes from occupying a unique space in the world, and that from that space you have a unique perspective as well? Can this lead you to be a conscious presence in the world that manifests spontaneously and not according to a script predetermined by beliefs and dogmas? Could this feel more natural and in greater harmony with the ever-new flow of life? As usual, take time to live with these questions without deciding beforehand what the answer should be. Notice what happens and keep flowing. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that your exploration this week is enjoyable and that you will join me next week to continue learning more simple and effective techniques. Remember, if you have questions when trying to apply these ideas, do not hesitate to contact me through my website simple-yoga.org. If Unravel the Thread is part of your day and you feel generous, I would appreciate it if you could support my work with a donation at simple-yoga.org. Thank you. And thank you also for your support by subscribing, liking, and sharing. Remember that you can have your own copy of Unravel the Thread. Until next time, Namaste.